Alright, here we are with the 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match with Team Raw versus SmackDown. This is going to be the men's edition. Honestly, in my opinion, I think this is going to be the co-main event of the show. If you're not watching for Goldberg versus Lesnar, this is the one reason to tune in. I think it's really cool that when you look at Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, these are easily, at least 9 of the biggest stars in the company. Braun Strowman, to me, is easily getting a rub in this match. If you go back to a few years ago with Team Cena versus the Authority, you can remember those teams. They put Rusev on the Authority team. That was the first real step for Rusev to being what he is now, of being an almost main eventer for WWE. I think that honestly, when you look at Team Raw, I understand that Braun Strowman is looking like it might be a big deal for WWE, but honestly, when I think about Braun Strowman, I think of the guys like Gene Stensky, that was pushed on Raw and built up as he was a big monster with a bald head and ugly teeth, and then out of the middle of nowhere, he goes in there, he wrestles a series of matches against John Cena, and then he's never really ever seen again. I'm not saying that Braun Strowman is being built up for The Undertaker or for John Cena or any other of the big stars of WWE. Maybe Roman Reigns takes out Braun Strowman. But, we've seen it where they build these guys up to be big, huge monster heels, and then out of the middle of nowhere, they lose a couple of matches, and then they say, oh, maybe we can make him into a big baby face, and everyone's going to love him because he's big and clumsy, and then they're gone, and they're wrestling in an indie in your town, and you're going to go see him wrestle in their high school gym. But when you look at the rest of this team, with Rollins, Jericho, Roman Reigns, and Kevin Owens, that's lights out. That's going to be a really great team, and I think that match is honestly going to be really fun. Looking over at Team SmackDown, I think that putting Shane McMahon in that match does bring a little bit of excitement to it, but honestly, the same way that I talked about them giving a rub to Braun Strowman, that was an awesome rub to give Baron Corbin to be a part of this main event. Baron Corbin, he's been in WWE since WrestleMania. He won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which, looking over the back couple of years with Cesaro getting the win as well as Big Show, we all know that doesn't really mean something. But with that match being his debut and getting a match win like that at WrestleMania, they could have easily built on that. And instead, we saw Baron Corbin go into a series of matches against Dolph Ziggler. We saw Baron Corbin have a pay-per-view match against Jack Swagger. And he hasn't really meant much of anything since the brand split, or I can't even remember if he did anything at SummerSlam. So since WrestleMania, this guy has basically just sort of sat idle, bouncing around, not doing a whole lot of much of anything. Shane joining the team can mean a lot for the future of SmackDown, whether if that means Miz, who's been standing up to Daniel Bryan, trying to get a spot on this team when Baron Corbin went down, as well as trying to get an Intercontinental Championship match, and trying to get, his contract renewed and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Miz somehow gets involved in this match with Shane being there. But I think the big picture is getting Shane McMahon to WrestleMania, where the rumor is that he's going to wrestle against Brock Lesnar. And I think that, besides the fact that he's going to be the GM of SmackDown, or he's the owner of SmackDown or the runner of SmackDown, I still don't really know what to call him, or Stephanie on Raw. But it sort of gets him in the building and have him a reason to be there if you're going to have a stare down between him and Lesnar, to sort of have a build on what happened at SummerSlam, because that hasn't been touched since August. And if that's going to be a hot WrestleMania thing, you got to pick on that every once in a while. And I understand that Brock is on Raw, Shane's on SmackDown, and you have the brand split, but for some reason, you gotta have them come together. And I know that this is the first time they're going to be in the same place at the same time since SummerSlam, but you gotta do something. The storyline of Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, with Orton joining the Wyatts because he couldn't beat them, I don't think it has anybody fooled in WWE. I don't think anybody out there really thinks that Orton is really with the Wyatts. I think everyone's waiting for that RKO. He's had the chance to do it 1,000 times, and why he hasn't done it, I don't know if he's trying to vacation at the Wyatts sort of hideout or their lair, or whatever they call that thing that they filmed those vignettes at back in the day, or where they had the throwdown with the New Day on Monday Night Raw after the Hardys did their deal on Impact. But What it really comes down to is AJ and Dean Ambrose and how they're going to be able to team up. Of course, everybody knows now since Talking Smack last week, AJ and Ambrose is your main event of TLC. Ambrose wants to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion again. AJ wants to prove that he's one of the best wrestlers in the world again. He's sitting on top. This pay-per-view is not going to have John Cena, so they have the place to be able to do this. I know that when I look at Team Raw, I think that they have the better competitors with having Rollins, Reigns, Owens, and Jericho on their team. In my mind, honestly, Bray Wyatt hasn't meant anything and to meaning a win anywhere. I know he got the win over Orton at No Mercy, but that was the first win I've seen him get in a long time, and it's not enough for him to mean something. In my mind, Shane McMahon, he had the big match against Undertaker at WrestleMania, but at his age and his lack of experience of wrestling as of late, I think that he's more of a negative to his team than a help. Shane McMahon's got a lot of heart. Shane McMahon's got a lot of guts. He's going to go out there. He's going to do anything it takes for his team to win. But he's only got so much. He's not in his 20s anymore. It's not the Attitude Era. It's not the 90s. He's not going out there wrestling against X-Pac or Test or even Kane with that match where he got his junk all fried with the battery jumper. But when I've been a fan of wrestling over the years, I've honestly thought that when you look at bragging rights or you look at any of the shows where they put Raw versus SmackDown, SmackDown's always going to win. I guess just there's going to be too much dissension. We're all waiting for Jericho to turn on Owens or even Owens to turn on Jericho. It's going to come sooner than later. We've already seen where Roman Reigns in a 5-way match, he hit the Superman punch on Jericho and Owens, taking them both out. We all know that the Brothers of Destruction, the former Shield, Rollins and Roman, people are really hot to see these guys work together. They want to see it sooner than later. They want to see a double power bomb. They all want to see him take out Jericho and Owens. So I don't know if maybe it's just Jericho and Rollins because they're good guys. Are they going to be able to put this behind them and be able to see it? I wouldn't be surprised if they don't mind taking them out. We all know that Owens and Jericho, they want to win this match because they want to impress Stephanie McMahon and they want to be in the favor of the leaders of Monday Night Raw. But they wouldn't mind seeing Roman and Rollins lose as well to maybe look like they're going to be the heroes, even if it means they have to go out there 3-on-2. Owens has said that he wished that Strowman could join their team. Jericho has a vendetta against Strowman because Strowman threw him around a little bit ago, over the whole list deal. So they're not going to be the best friends. So there's a lot of storylines that could come off the Raw team. I don't think that they have the better team, but I'm going to pick SmackDown to win this one just because of over the past years, they want to make SmackDown look like it's going to be the A brand. Even though over the course of years, we've seen that it's just gets a lack of respect. Whether if that's just for the years that WWE didn't care about it, and they just said, yeah, just go out there and do whatever they're going to do. They just made it where, Monday Night Raw is the A show. We're going to put all the good things on there. And if you go back over the history of years and you really watch SmackDown, anything that ever got over, like if it was the Great Khali versus Cesaro, they didn't show you clips of the match on Raw like, hey, if you missed SmackDown, this is what you missed. They just did the fucking match again. Almost move for move and just showed you the big spots just so you could say that it happened on Monday Night Raw. So, I don't know. It is what it is. Pick Team SmackDown, take the money. I think that easily they're going to be the underdog in this match, but I think that they're really going to pull it out and get the win here.